20 years ago, I came across a quote by Meister Eickhart. The greatest prayer you can say in your life is thank you. And when I heard it, I knew it was profound, and I knew it was important, but I didn't understand it. It took me another 5 to 10 years, having spent time with some native Indian medicine men, to actually understand why thank you is a great prayer. I'm doing this short video in honor of the Conscious TV interview that I did that came up a few days ago. You can see that at the link that's going to be posted below. Ian McKay did a wonderful job with the talk, and I thought I would just add something small for those of you who had seen that video and would like to see a small bit more. So when it comes to prayer, it's a very interesting topic because generally, after my time with the natives, I feel most people don't pray properly. And by that I mean they're doing things in two ways. First of all, they're asking for X. They're asking for something specific, and usually something specific for them. So it's a combination of, it's a very egoic thing. I want this, and they're asking some force, some power to give it to them. And the second point is they're putting it in a box. They're putting their prayer in a box. I want this and only this, which is also quite limiting, as the native Indians also showed me. The third strange part of this is this idea that in order for the prayer to be granted, some higher authority has to like us. Prayer is thought of similar to asking Dad for the keys to the car on the weekend. There's this power figure who's going to make the decisions on who gets what, and you have to please the puppeteer in order to get them to give you the keys to the car. So in order to do that, people feel they have to be more nice, more loving, more wonderful. In a sense, really not being nice and loving and wonderful just for the sake of it. They're doing that to try to please the puppeteer so that God will give them what they want, which means all of their niceness is really just another egoic form of manipulation, trying to get what you want. And as I said, what they want is this very small box of possibility. So I'm going to read a paragraph from my book, Falling for Truth, that explains what I learned from the native Indians. I never really paid much attention to the idea of prayer. But my new native Indian friends, after every ceremony they performed, had prayer as a main activity. And they told me that the first thing I had to learn to be of service was to learn how to pray. It took some time to learn how different native prayer is. It's not about asking for something, like please heal my sister. Rather, to pray their way was to say thank you. For example, thank you for the help you will bring to my sister. It's quite a twist. This is not putting a box around this, only asking for help. In fact, they're not even specifically asking for the sick sister to be healed, simply helped. Perhaps being well is helping, but perhaps it is not. Thus, an entire spectrum of possibilities being tapped into and utilized using this type of prayer. Secondly, they're not even really asking, but instead saying thank you, thereby acknowledging that whatever was asked for is already happening. There's no longer any doubt involved when it comes to the inevitable arrival of what was prayed on. One time I was out in the forest with my Ojibwe teacher, Dennis. I was leaving a tobacco offering by a tree for a friend of mine. After I left the offering, he reminded me, now that you've left the tobacco, never think of the wish again. This is done, and it is happening. Forget it. I was being taught the basic principles of what Richard Rose called betweenness, without realizing how deep such a teaching truly was. Everything Eddie Traversa, another really great teacher on the internet, later told me in the course of an hour, Dennis had just told me in 2 sentences. So I leave you with those things to contemplate. I talk in the book much more about these ideas of manifestation and betweenness and prayer. And a key point of Richard Rose's whole teaching on this subject was, you can move mountains, but the mountains have to agree to be moved. And it's another whole part of the idea of prayers. Again, generally people are asking for things or wanting things or demanding things without seeing what something else wants. It's not seeing, yeah, I want some flowers from nature, I want some rocks from nature for my garden, I want this tree, but they're not checking to see, well, what does the rocks want? What does the flowers want? What does the mountain want? Because if you can start bringing yourself into alignment with what nature actually, or the dream wants, that's the best way of putting it. When you get into alignment with what the dream wants, then it's very easy to manifest, because you're manifesting what the dream wants. And if you find that you want something that the dream doesn't want, or an object doesn't want, then just by yourself not wanting it as well, merging with the not wanting of reality, will also make things much easier, because you're not trying to fight to force something to happen, force some flower or stone to come with you that doesn't want to come with you, force a mountain to be moved that doesn't want to be moved. So I just thought I'd share some of those things with you, some of those concepts that you can think about. And again, you can check the Conscious TV interview in the link below. There were some other interviews that I had done before that, including one with Sean Nevins from the TAT Foundation. I can leave that below too. I think I talked about some of these ideas and some native teachings in there. And again, if you like the video, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.